I'm Holly, founder of What the Stars Say Astrology. This is part 2. So if you've not seen part 1 yet, please go back and watch. This is our continued dialogue and exploration of the planets of the outer planets specifically, and the retrograde season, and the energy we have from today when I'm recording this, June 25th, leading up until July 5th. And the intuitive part of the intuitive astrology here is the part that has come forth, urging me to share and focus on the outer planets at this time and the relevance of their message in the astrological story and shit show that is 2020. Okay, so if you haven't seen that, please go back and watch the first part. My part's different, but the clothes are different, so you can recognize the video easily. I went into a lot of the energies we're coming out of with the eclipses, and the energy we're going into with Mars moving into Aries at this time. I also kind of gave a play-by-play of like from June 20th to June 30th, right, and into July 1st. There's parts about the eclipse that go into July 5th and the energy that we're having at this time. But the information shared in general on the outer planets really is as I said, a theme, a continued theme and story that we're experiencing throughout 2020. When I did a quick check on the video, there was a few things that I really wanted to clarify, that I want to just drive the message home again, that this time, June 25th, July 5th, is a big buildup, and it's very rough, but we can change this. As I stress, we're co-creators. We create our own reality. We either give in to the fear and chaos and division energy, or we embrace the love, the unity, okay, available, and the transformation, that's available for us all this time. So I wanted to go into using an example to just drive this point home. In the solstice video, I went into astrology on Tulsa time. What the Stars Say helps, our blogs can go throughout the world. We have readership and followers in many countries, and we have services throughout North America, but we are based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and our city was center stage last week. So I want to go into what the outcome of that, just a quick follow-up, because it's such a shining example of how we are co-creators, how we can claim the reality around us, and how our personal and collective energy can change. So when I say rough things are ahead, notice that it's through change that we are transformed. Without change, our lives would be very boring, very boring. It wouldn't be the human experience. So the thing is what we have to do is, when we look at these energies, and I tell you about spiritual warfare and the battle between dark and light, and the tyranny and the plans of the global elite and the Saturn worshippers and such, I want you to know through all of that, no matter what comes our way, the future's unwritten. We can change it. There's so many things we can change, okay? And the internal and the external really need to match up with that energy. What we're feeling inside is coming out, and we're adding to that energetic soup, that we're all kind of swimming in right now. So what happened was, to go back to that 1984 example, I don't want anybody, I know this is cancel culture time, and I'm not concerned about being canceled, because these are the messages I'm supposed to give, and it might not be intended for you, and if so, just get out of my reality. Just go away, really. I'm not worried about being canceled at this time as much as I am worried about not using my voice to share what I feel could calm, empower, soothe, during this difficult time. There are difficult truths we have to face. If you don't like the difficult truths presented, don't fuck with my energy. Just go away. I don't care about that. But I want to clarify, because I want to make sure that my intentions and the information I'm sharing is clear. So I have embraced activism throughout my life. There was a time in my life where vocation means voice. It's how you use your voice, There's so many people that are truly called upon to use their voice for the voiceless, to pursue activism. I deeply believe some people are born into this life knowing that part of their goal here is to heal our earth and to address environmental concerns. There are people here who are compelled to help children, you know? There's a calling we get. And when I share this information, I am by no means trying to repress or belittle the calling people have, the need for us all to use our voices, okay? But what's clear to me is there's chaos and there's love. So we have to look at that, okay? There's a difference between activism and terrorism. There's a difference between self-righteous anger and righteous anger. So what I want to really make clear on my own part here is that we can't mistake activism and calling for the energies we also have right now that encourage us to worry about the messes in other people's houses instead of looking at our own, to project, to add to fear, chaos, cruelty, and division in our lives, okay? When I say you can't erase history, I am not attacking the young people who are tearing down statues. I understand their anger. I understand what it feels like to be a young adult that realizes what patriarchy is, right? That realizes that it's, you know, the white boys club, you know? So many times in my life I've been reminded of this. And all I'm encouraging here is that you have to know the real enemy, okay? And we have a global collective enemy. You have to understand that even within activism and movements, there's counter opposition, right? There's infiltration. There's people who have their own agenda. So anytime I talk about a group, I want to be really clear here, and hopefully this helps you as well too, or it just upsets you and you go away. Either way, when I talk about the global elite and I talk about the dark and the light and the groups and everything, you must understand that you cannot, at this time, I would not advise looking at any group of people as all good or all bad. It is so vital at this time that we judge people and their energy and their intentions on an individual level, okay? There's a lot of information coming out about how Black Lives Matter is a corporation and not a charity, about how Sean King said this or he did that, okay? It's very important at this time that we understand that even if there is corruption within a movement, it should not discount all those people who are being called to address inequality, okay? They're tired for the peace and then they just have to lay down and take it. They're tired of that, so don't discount them and don't put them in the group. The same thing is so true for our political parties at this time. Don't hardline either way. There's extremism on both sides at this time. You cannot tell me that every single person in the Republican Party or the Democrat Party or the socialist movement, let's keep going, any group throughout the world, you can't tell me every single person is good or bad. The same is true with law enforcement. You can't tell me that everyone is bad and has evil intentions or has racism in them. Because a lot of our law enforcement has a military background and they don't see color out there on the field. Those are brothers, okay? Those are brothers, those are sisters, those are family. It doesn't matter. So they're not, you can't look at that. And you can't say, oh, all the Republicans are bad or all the Democrats are bad. How do you know that? Have you sat and had tea with every single one? And if the veil wears off and the glamour spell fades and everything with this Neptune retrograde, we're getting into the adapt or die with the outer planets, because this is what Neptune is trying to teach you right now, okay? And I am praying that as Neptune goes into its retrograde season, the spell wears off. It is so important we don't compartmentalize people at this time, because the longest and oldest strategy of war, and this is war on many fronts, is to divide and conquer. And my prayer is people wake up to the fact that they're trying to divide us in order to conquer us, and it doesn't, this force working against us, okay, this energy and everything like that working against us is about to come into its house of power on June 30th. It doesn't know bounds, okay? And it's not just related to politics. It has ties to various industries. It has ties to our media and our entertainment. It has tentacles out everywhere. So when we just look at one thing, or we say this movement or that's wrong, or don't discount this or that and everything like that, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, okay? Remember who the big bad wolf is. And know that Mars and Aries rash energy wants you to change the whole world in a day. But take a deep breath, okay? So in Tulsa, they tried to divide us, okay? This is outside forces. This is outside forces. This is what it's a story of what so many of us are dealing with. The outside forces, those dark forces and energies, want to divide you. They wanted our city to be chaos. They wanted blood in the streets. They wanted division. They wanted fear. They wanted political gain. They wanted to push their tyranny and their false agendas. And they wanted us, the citizens of Tulsa, to be the bait and the victim. Okay? That was the plan. And as it unfolded, I could just see it all unfolding. And that was the plan. But we are co-creators of our reality. We have a say. We can change the energy. So what did Tulsa do? First of all, to go back to that 1984 analogy I made in the first part, we realized the power of our energy. We saw this coming, and there was a moment where it was like, no, this won't be our reality. We're not going to go for this. We realized the ministry of truth, to go back to 1984, is media. Not just mainstream media, not alternative media, if such a thing still exists anymore, and but just social media. Social media. Gemini season, the people that had to deal with the duplicitous nature of Gemini, the gossipy nature of Gemini, they really showed themselves at this time. But we didn't fall for that either. Tulsa realized that no group is good and no group is bad. Many in Tulsa realized. I can't speak for everybody here, of course, but allegations came out against a Democratic candidate, and many people are standing with the victim at this side, and they're realizing that you can't put all people together. You know, there's good and bad people within every group, and it's a heartbreaking truth that we are being asked to face at this time. Tulsa also embraced the fact that you cannot erase history. And by that, what I'm saying is, I'm not proud of our history. I'm not proud of our history at all. It's heartbreaking. It's devastating. It did not take me long to move here in Tulsa to find out about the race massacre. I noticed that a lot of white people around me had no idea what it was. It wasn't until 2 years, I think, that a lot of people here woke up to that truth and that reality and that history. And Tulsa could have swept it under the rug. They could have came on it harder, you know, been in total denial, been more oppressive, invoked more of their white privilege here. But instead, we realize you can't erase history, and that you have to address the wound in order to heal it. There's so many lovely examples of Black activists, artists, writers, speakers, so many that are part of this movement to collectively address and heal this wound. On a national level, as we go through June 30th to July 5th, we're being asked to heal collective wounds. It's so important at this time that we don't use these calls or use this movement as an excuse to distract and project from the wounds that we need to uncover in order to heal, okay? Neptune has such a redemption to it. The Neptune retrograde not only helps us realize the way that people are coming at us with their agendas, the ways that you really can't choose sides because it's just all around, and who knows, it goes beyond. The tentacles are everywhere, okay? So the only way to really push through this is to not deny the wounds that are coming up. For so many of you, you are feeling this on a deeply, deeply personal level. Old psychological burdens and wounds are coming up. The Venus retrograde required of us all some very difficult retrospection on matters of the heart. And with all the Cancer energy we have with this solar eclipse and how it's playing into the story at this time, this is very nurturing. This is home, its roots, its foundation. We have to look at the wounds in this country and in our collective story in order to truly heal, okay? Mars in Aries is going to want you to rush through. Mars in Aries does not care about the past at all. Aries is future oriented. So that's going to be a challenge that we face, but that is the challenge that Neptune is calling on us, that all the Cancer energy, which is the United States' sign, you know, home sign, it's all there. Tulsa and how they treated that event, how we all treated this, how we did this. I mean, I spent my day doing so much prayer, meditation, visualization, and then I joined a collective group and we created an energetic shield offering protection and peace and love throughout our city. The morning after the rally, we woke up and we strengthened the shield. So many people chose to stay home and not engage. Tulsa Black Lives Matters and community leaders and elders said, we are having no part of that. Thank you so much for doing that, because they created the energetic tone throughout the city. How did they spend the day? Enjoying how well Juneteenth went. Having a block party, having a dance party, you know? It was beautiful energy. So we saw that. Hurricane, you know, global elite, hurricane divide them all agenda, hurry up, you know, make him actually the bait, make him the victim, show their city destroyed all over the news, rev them all up, divide, conquer. We didn't fall for that. All this stuff that we're going into right now, we don't have to fall for that either, okay? Don't fear the future, create the future, okay? Add to the energy. What are you putting out there? Don't sweat the things you can't control right now. Focus on the things you can control, because what you can control can really, really change the outcome for you personally and for us all collectively. Neptune in Pisces makes us go into the dark recesses. It makes us go into the subconscious. This is all of the skeletons coming out. This is all of the dirty deeds coming out. But it also has this wonderful transformative quality for us, okay? When Mars was in Pisces along with Neptune, this was a lot of deceptive action. So Mars going into Aries, it has its own red flags and everything like that, but it's a wonderful energy to help us move away from deceptive action, to explore the deception, to look at the wounds, to address the wounds, and to not just adapt or die, but adapt and thrive. We have the opportunity to thrive. We have the opportunity to create a better, more unified, loving world, okay? And that does not mean tyranny, new world order, we're all drones and things like that. It means a life that's in tune with the integrity that we have, the humanity we have, the shared values we have, the basic needs we have, okay? So in order to get there, we have to address inequality, but be mindful of what is your calling, what is your voice, and what is you getting caught up unknowingly in somebody else's agenda, them wanting to use you as bait, them wanting to use you as a victim, okay? So you have to think about what you want. Tulsa collectively didn't want our city to be destroyed, didn't want our reputation damaged, didn't want negative attention on us, didn't want to distract from the fact that we are addressing our wounds here and healing. We don't need new wounds at this time, okay? It's really important that we consider wounding others as we address our own wounds, because if we avoid that, if we're not dealing with our own mess, the retrograde season has asked us at this time, and so many of these outer planets and their adapt or die thing have given you this retrograde season to really reflect and to clean up the messes in your house. If you spent this retrograde season just worrying about the mess in other people's house, or being their bait or their useful idiot and conjuring up these divisive energies and everything at this time while ignoring the economic crisis at hand and the fallout, that we're about to embark upon here, it's going to be really rough for you. It's going to be really rough for you. This is a time to clean up your own mess, to address your own wounds. This is a time to look back at what was going on in your house in April during the lockdown. How did you act? What did you bring forth at that time? How did that go? Because that's part of the lesson of these planets too. So the outer planets are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. I went into a lot about Neptune because I think it's so important, and I think our retrograde season that we're going into right now is our first chance to really address this and get it to the heart of the matter. I'm going to go into Jupiter a lot. When I described the story of 2020 and the shit show, I talked about, I like to use, the planets and the energies and the celestials and everything almost like as people, as little analogies. And how I described the playoff that was happening between Jupiter and Capricorn was as if Capricorn was this idealistic, well-intended trust fund kid. And, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So think of that adventurer that's going off to different lands and backpacking culture that loves to sit around and get to know people and to connect with different ideas and different cultures and everything like that. So this is a very idealistic spirit. Jupiter's lucky, expansive. It rules higher thinking, law, philosophy, all of that, okay? It's a more youthful energy. So Saturn rules Capricorn, right? And Saturn is Lord of Karma, Father of Time. It's a very authoritative, don't mess with Saturn, right? It's very authoritative, and it's just, Saturn wants to consider itself and has throughout history been known as the god of all gods, okay? So Saturn in Capricorn is like this authoritative father, this top dog, right? And it was almost like Jupiter was cut off from the trust fund, sent back to the drawing board and saying, come up with a practical business plan. I'm done footing the bill here for your adventures and things like that. And how they've been playing out is right now we have Saturn going back into Capricorn. So how this is going to play out in the adapt or die language with Jupiter and Saturn, two of our outer planets, just how they're interplaying is, June 30th through July 5th, Saturn is going to try to ground Jupiter again. Come back and smack down. It's going to inspect. Did you clean up your messy room? Do you have a practical business plan? Do you just have pipe dreams? How are you going to adapt? That's something that is going to be faced. Each of us are tasked with addressing that at this time. And how that turns out is whether or not you cleaned up your mess, whether or not you came up with a practical business plan, whether or not you realize that, for that moment, you have to work through the system. You have to listen to dad. You're grounded, You're grounded until you clean up your room. You're grounded till you come up with a practical plan. You're grounded until you figure out a way to adapt or die. On a collective level, Jupiter's expanding the energy of that. So there's times when Jupiter has really strengthened the power and the control and the drive of Saturn. But there's other times where it weakens it or debilitates it. So they have a story that's playing out. And with Saturn, Saturn is obviously Lord of Karma. So that is your own personal story and your own personal journey. But Saturn in Capricorn, if you want to look at who the targets are, when Pluto comes in, when Jupiter's expanding, and then Pluto's, expanding that destruction and expanding that attack, there's two ways it could play out here, okay? It can either, all of this can be used for good or bad. So there's times when Saturn has a little power play on us, and it's pushing that tyranny, it's pushing that top-down authority and control. It's going into all of that. And then there's times where it's more debilitated and it's just getting destroyed by Pluto's energy. So if you look at Saturn Capricorn themes, there's a little really pretty white moth flying around. It's nice. I'm like, destroy, and it's a pretty little moth. Oh, look at that. Needed to clear that energy, apparently. If you look at Saturn and Capricorn, okay, we can either see these groups rise up or we can see them fall down. and it can be both, because you can't go group. There's so many individuals, and so much of this with Saturn comes down to your individual karma, how you have conducted yourself, your social status, your reputation, your integrity, what you worked to build up, you know what I mean? How you've manifested things in your life. It's looking at all of that. But when you look at the Saturn Capricorn energy that is the story of 22, it's looking at the influencers, the elite, the top-down authority, the control, you know. So much of it is attacking the people that care the very most about their reputation. And although I'm not condoning or saying, oh, cancel culture is great, there are some things that we need to cancel. Let's just be honest with that. There are some individuals who are facing a karmic reckoning, and some people have no problem adding to that downfall. That is something that's going on right now. We need to be careful of the difference between self-righteous anger and righteous anger. You know, we need to be clear in our own intentions, but this is how the story's playing out. The adapt or die. The adapt or die plays out in the fact that we're canceling businesses and corporations that are showing themselves to be shady, greedy, inconsiderate. We'll get back into this when we talk about Saturn and Uranus and how that plays out. But these are the groups of people. It's like, especially with Venus retrograde, not a easy time for the beautiful ones, was it? Not an easy time. Not an easy time. All of the people we're taught to, like, you know, want to emulate and idolize and everything like that, where are they at? They got pushed away. That's part of that energy coming out, okay? So it plays out in a couple of different ways. So when anybody's, you know, me or other astrologers or people you're listening to and everything like that, when you talk about Saturn, that's so much of it right there. That's so much of it there. But it's also our broken systems. Our broken systems. So in adapt or die, the broken systems, right? They're not going to adapt. They're going to die. They're going to go away. And unfortunately, so many citizens have to pay for the fact that the structure, you know, the authority, the leadership, the control, the setup of our country has created broken systems that provide our basic services. When we look at Saturn and Uranus, let's talk about two things here. So Saturn, they're all adapt or die. But Uranus is unique in the sense that if something is just a little broken, but it's fixable, you get a little bit of a pass there. But there's still that adapt or die, because if there are cracks in it, you know, and everything like that in the foundation of it, Uranus will wipe it out. So Saturn and Capricorn is looking at top-down authority. It's looking at control. It's looking at the global elite. That's them. That's where it's coming in. The influencers, the beautiful people, the top echelon, you know, the power players, and also the narcissist, okay? The narcissist. So this is us canceling, you know, the Karens. That's what that is it's coming out of here. So Uranus is in Taurus, and this is 2018 to 2026. And adapt or die is Uranus and Taurus. What this is doing is we're going to have so many extreme weather changes. There's going to be major events, as I said in the first part. We've already have that earthquake energy. There was an earthquake in Oklahoma after that event, you know, over the weekend, and then there was a earthquake in Mexico, as I had shared, that others had suggested in the previous video, not the part one, with the one before that. And we go into that earthquake energy the 25th, 27th. But during this whole time, 2018 to 2026, Uranus and Taurus is causing so many changes. Uranus is Lord of thunderbolts and lightning, rules volcanic energy, earthquake energy. It's explosive energy. And our collective frustration and energy builds up can actually contribute to this energy. So we are going to have some major, I'm talking, you know, June 25th today until July 5th, there's going to be more weather things, and something we're just going to have to deal with. Unexpected weather, shifts, great shifts to the land. Uranus and Taurus is also looking, it's called the cow revolution. That is playing out. Look at beef supply. I mean, I've talked about this before and everything like that. And it's played out with our food supply system. It's getting us back to the earth, back to community gardens and victory gardens, because it wants us to address how far away from nature we've gotten, how far the environmental and lack of sustainability in our food production. Okay, that is all being examined deeply by Uranus and Taurus. And the restaurants, the industries, say like the meat packing plants and things like that, if there's cracks in the system, if there's cracks in the supply chain, wipes it out. Uranus and Taurus is us looking at how we've treated Earth, how we've treated nature itself. We are going to have to adapt to the Earth, the environmental and very physical changes that is brought forth by this. Taurus is about it's about, materialism, what you have built, This is where I go into, when you couple it with Saturn and Capricorn, this is where I go to that big bad wolf analogy. Is your house made of hay? Is it made of straw? Or is it made of bricks? With Saturn and Capricorn, Uranus and Taurus, you're only going to make it through this if your house is made of bricks. This is part of the adapt or die that's coming at us in 2020. I just want to make sure I got it all. So, this is already about 30 minutes, and these are some of the main messages I wanted to play. I feel like one of the things I see so often is the Uranus and Taurus. I feel like it's so important, just to show you how it can take down industries. I mean, let's look at just the cow revolution part of it. But it also wanted to destroy excess materialism. It wanted to go after fast fashion. It is not environmentally friendly and or sustainable or even smart of us to have fast fashion. So it wanted to take that on, all right? You've seen what it's doing to like the beauty community, the influencers, the elite, the top of people, and that is the Saturn and Capricorn, but it's also the Uranus and Taurus. Even before all of this got into the picture, what it was really looking at is it taking on any business that put profits before people and nature. So as we go through this experience, adapt or die, Have you been on the Earth side? Have you been on the Earth's inhabitant side? If not, you're out. You're not going to make it through this. Uranus and Taurus has asked people on a personal level to look at their own material situation. As I've said, we're going into a time where we're going to get to, it's the economy, stupid, and that, veil, that fog will lift. We'll be able to see the situation far more clearly at this time. So, Uranus and Taurus, for a while now, this isn't 2018, just consider in your life what you've done, what you've already accomplished, and just to know adapt or die ways. Let's talk about some ways you've adapted so well. Uranus and Taurus brought us like tidy, you know what I mean? It brought us the Marie Kondo, the Kondo method. It made us, and it's still making us, clean out our closets, you know what I mean? Clean up your messes. That's what this whole season's about. And so many people I've heard are taking this last bit of time, like this last part of the retrograde season, to do that final purge and to donate the items they didn't need and to put that energy back forth into motion and to consider not just what they have to get rid of, but what they take in moving forward. Uranus and Taurus offers us this beautiful, more simplistic and deeply connected to nature and our true material goals. That energy is here for us, and it's playing out in lovely ways, but it's caused us all to examine our excessive materialism, how we are voting with our dollar, what companies are we contributing to. So that's the energy we have at this time. With Saturn, as I said, that's going back to so much personal karma, and it's going back to attack the specific group. With Jupiter, everybody in the adapt or die, right? Everybody has gone through and ended this 12-year Jupiter cycle. So as you're being asked in this retrograde season to look back at things, so many of you are thinking back 12 years ago to 2007, and maybe this hits you on that Venus in retrograde area too. You're looking back at a relationship you were in or where your heart was at in 2007. So we are all going through a change of luck, a change of expansion, a change of thinking, okay? And this is brought about by our own personal Jupiter cycles, wrapping up a 12-year cycle and going into a new one. So in that way, Jupiter is asking you to adapt to this new cycle, adapt to this change of luck, okay? Adapt to where you're trying to go in your head, with higher thinking, with your ideas about ethics and integrity, okay? Wherever Jupiter's at in your chart, it's going to expand it. So if you felt an expansion in one area of it, or a call to expand, Jupiter's asking you to adapt, to switch that path and get on it, okay? Uranus is doing a lot of different things to a lot of people on a personal level, and that would really depend on it. So I want to just give a quick shout out here to everyone listening to this message that is going through what in astrology is the midlife crisis transit. Uranus will be hitting at certain points, and one of those big transits is about 4 or 5, depending on how you want to view it. And Uranus opposition is in there, and a lot of people I've noticed, from clients and charts I'm looking at and stuff, they're going through major Uranus changes, and this is like, it feels almost electrical. It's like this energy. It is this energy. It's this Kundalini energy rising up through you. So if you're just getting these like power surges, I really urge you to take heed at that call you have inside to just break free of it all. Just break free and just like destroy it all and burn it down. That's your Uranus energy. Try to look into, extra physical exercise you can do, or even Kundalini yoga would be great, or just to recognize when you get this like wild hair, and you just think, I could just leave it all, I could just do this and that. Be careful of that energy, because it's Uranus coming through and it's very strong. So you have to adapt to that new electrical energy flowing through you and use it as a way to create positive things. It might give you the power. So many people experience this as the power that they needed, that energy they needed, that push they needed to remove what wasn't working in our life, remove the broken systems, the broken relationship, the broken career, and so forth. It could give you that, but it can also surge through you. So that's adapt or die, because you have to learn how to figure out with that energy that's coming in. The last thing I'm being reminded to tell everybody is the Neptune and Pisces energy and the emotional Cancer energy we have at this time is, and just the whole 2020 story, okay? Let's not say, look over here, don't look over here, because one of the things they're not wanting us to look at right now is not only the economy, but it's our mental health, okay? We need to be really honest about our mental health right now, and know that your kindness towards others is so important. Your compassion towards others is so important, because you do not truly know what everyone's going through. But please take my word for it when I tell you everyone is going through something. Everyone is confronting the deception in their lives, the illusion they've created, the heartbreak that humanity is experiencing right now. People that are empathic are really picking up on that. Anybody that is sensitive, they're struggling at this time. And if you are sensitive, I can tell you that nature is your best bet for mental health right now. It really is. Please have some nature during the day, and take some vitamin D, and then if you take magnesium at bedtime, it will work as a really wonderful natural antidepressant for you. But more importantly, know that we are being asked to examine this wounds at this time, but we can't go too deep into those emotional waters that we find ourselves off the deep end with our mental health. So I want to end with a message of hope here, and let people know that it's the darkest before dawn. It really is. And I truly believe that we are co-creators, and I think that Tulsa itself, an example that I shared with you today, is a wonderful example of how we can change the energy, change the discourse that's happening in all of these external situations coming at us as they unfold. If you're having a hard time within and you are struggling with mental health issues, you're not a bad person if you want to turn out the external. You're not a bad person if, I'm not saying to isolate yourself, but just know that this is a retrospective time. This week that I'm talking about, this week that we're living in right now, okay, we have 6 planets in retrograde. It's insane. It's insane. So how can everything around us, all the energy around us, be in this quasi backward motion, and we're supposed to feel like we can move forward? It's okay if you don't feel like you can move forward yet. It's okay if you're not sure what's next. What's next? It's okay. Because in this moment and now and moving forward, each moment and each day, you can create your reality. You can create your reaction. You know, you can respond rather than react. You can detach and go, whoa, this is crazy. You know, just take a moment for yourself. That is an important message that I'm being told right now, and especially, I don't know when we will connect again. I don't know if it'll be through before July 5th, but going in through this, just know that the wound has to be addressed, that the truth has to be addressed, that we have to adapt or die in so many ways, okay? The Jupiter energy is asking us, this youthful energy, this youthful rebellion that we have at this time, these people that have to inherit this world, you know, that wonderful energy is available to us all, and it's asking us to wake up to a higher thinking. And this is beautiful energy. Even if Jupiter and Pluto are going to destroy some things, we have to address the fact that so many of these outer planets are really just like intent on cleaning house. They're cleaning up a mess here on Earth. And our best contribution that we can have is to clean up our own messes at this time. But sometimes when we clean up those messes, it really hurts. So don't erase your history. Look at that wound, examine it, and make the intention that it will not be like that again. It will not be like that going forward. That we demand a different reality, okay? And create that energy. Create that energy. Jupiter and Venus, as I pointed out, are on our side a lot this year. There's a lot going on. And if you care about sustainability and you care about the Earth, there's part of Uranus and Taurus that is giving the Earth a chance to breathe, to heal, to be treated in a more loving, respectful way moving forward. There's wonderful energy there. And Neptune also, now more than ever, do not believe for 1 second you can't change the outcome here, because the energy of Neptune, although it's difficult, couples so many other cosmic occurrences that are happening this year that truly, truly, truly give you a chance to transform your life. All of those things that you were sick of, all of those things you were tired of, all those things that you felt repressed in, you have such a beautiful opportunity for rebirth at this time. You have that potential, as I was saying, to not like adapt or die, those are your only options, but to adapt and thrive, okay? So know that you have the power to change the outcomes here, all the way. There's going to be really hard external things that are happening. I would like to end by just saying, if I don't say it, I would be remiss. I would encourage everyone, I'm not taking you into panic mode, we're not going into fear. It's like prepared, not scared, okay? But because it's so hard to say exactly how events could roll out. Like, you could see the themes. We can say like, oh, earthquakes here, and oh, economic collapse here, and then, you know, things like this here, and there's a lot coming at us right now. There's a lot that's about to come at us. So I would be remiss if I didn't suggest to you, you take some money out of an ATM, you get gas in your car, and you get the things you need at the store. As we go into this weekend, you know, but before Monday morning, and to know that all those little messes you need to clean up, you still got a little bit more time. You have a little bit more time. And Saturn will reward you, even if you just try to come in at the end and just get it done. I mean, it's a Mercury retrograde, but Mercury is even go back and clean up that mess. So you still have a little bit of time. So clean your messes, get prepared, and also know that we can change the course. We can change the outcome. If the external world is freaking out, doesn't mean you have to. Okay? If the external world wants you to focus on this and don't look over here and don't look over there, you don't have to. You literally create your own reality, okay? And it begins with your thoughts. So choose love over chaos, and know that in these difficult times, we are all being addressed to examine that wound, and this is just the rev up, and we have from this point until the winter solstice to determine the outcome. It's such a pivotal time, and as I said at the beginning of part one, I'm really nervous. I've been nervous about delivering this message, and I feel like it's such a pivotal and important message because I just can't in good conscience not say this before we deep dive into this. July 5th is that eclipse trinity, and it's hitting home, you know. It's the birthday of our nation, and at this time we have the same energy as 1776. Okay. Whew. There's a lot of former energy that's coming around us at this time. We've had the energy, you'll see all these, little astrology posts go out, and